Hi, Mr. Paul. Welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News. Please tell us how important is this event of investing in Vietnam today?
Actually, this is the first time that the Enterprise Community of Vietnam 2020 organized such an event to have the investors in Singapore to find the companies like the SME companies in Vietnam. So we believe that from this event we can continue to make it as a platform so that SME companies from Vietnam to continue to be matched with the suitable investors as well as partners in Singapore.
And what will be the next step right now? Will there be another conference like this next year?
Certainly that we would like to make it an annual conference because we believe that we want to make something sustainable. It's just not just like a one-off event. We would like to make it like something after the event, like the two parties can reach each other and then can continue some discussion. So actually we have a team to follow up with the company and even have them to consult them because sometimes it's just about the information gap. Like the companies from Vietnam, they don't really be very well prepared to present to the partner in Singapore. It's not that they cannot do that, but they just don't know how to present that. So actually we assign a team to consult the companies and to follow up with them on that. Yeah.
Once again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Your Excellency, welcome to the National Critics' Choice. Please tell us what kind of opportunities that Vietnam has for investors.
I think that Vietnam has a big potential for foreign investors to Vietnam, as Vietnam has a big size of population of 90 million people, which about 40% of they are 25 years old. It means a very young population, and Vietnam economy in the last few years is still grows at average 5-6% per year. And the third reason is that Vietnam economy is still open and welcome on our foreign investors to Vietnam.
So, thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the hot for the introduction about YKBN and myself. I have a little down on that. I'm very proud to be here today. A second. I'm not so good at the technique as a lawyer. Of course, I will not go through my colleague, the panelists already mentioned. I will look into that as a lawyer, as a legal advisor to not only foreign PE fund, private equity fund, but also from the perspective of the local company who receive the investment from the fund. So I think that from our point of view, there are three trends. First, currently you see that the listing of Vietnamese company become slow over the past few years. Second, the second trend we see is that the PE investment, private equity investment, is rising. And the third one, we want to refer to the. I consider it's the last trend. Is the when the existing, especially the existing strategic investor, try to expand their equity stake in their target company. So let's come to trend number one. The many years or about 10 years ago, when the stock exchange of Vietnam, in particular the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange, become in operation. People really expected that the exchange will help Vietnamese corporation to raise funds via stock market listing, via IPO. It could be true for a number of companies, but it is not true for the whole market. And now you can see that the number of listings has slowed considerably. And we know that when we discuss with some of our clients, a number of local investors, a number of Vietnamese companies, they are even thinking of delisting delisting their share out of the stock market in order to help them to easily sell their company to foreign investor or other interested investor. Because I think that there could be a couple of reasons, but one reason is that if you see to the stock market of Vietnam, you see that we have a foreign room as my Mr. From SI already mentioned, we have a foreign room of 49%, and that foreign room lock the opportunity for foreign investors to buy more in Vietnamese corporation. And if the foreign investor come to the market and they want to acquire or take control of a Vietnamese company, maybe a private equity investment is a better choice rather than go to the stock market where they got the limit 49%. I know that the government is looking to expand the room, but it's still on paper, it's still on plan, but it's not yet for the whole stock market. I think in relation to this trend, at the moment, in addition to the slow and the small number of listing, many existing shareholders now, they are looking forward to sell a part of their company, to sell a part of their stake in the company for several reasons. Some they want to exit. A number of them they want to, they are really tired with their business, and they want to have the other to help, the other investor, especially for investor to help them. Some they want to take the money and make investment in the other business and industry, and that will give opportunity to for investor. Also, you may know that some private equity fund is coming to their maturity, and they are closing the fund in the next 1 or 2 years, and that's why they want to divest. They want to exercise the exit strategy, to sell their existing asset. And that also give the opportunity to new fund to come in and to make investment in the country. Because of the trend number one, it results in the increasing private equity investment over the past few years. In fact, not only private equity investment, but also the M&A investment. And if you look into newspaper of Vietnam now, I think that every day you will see the term M&A in a lot of newspaper, a lot of magazine, and people in Vietnam are now quite used to the term M&A, and they think of M&A as a good opportunity for not only the seller, the selling shareholder, but also for buyers. If you, as I think that as a panelist already mentioned, it's the M&A increasing in Vietnam. I think it's you can see the number of example, and I believe that here we already talk or mention about McDonald's or our firm YKVN just recently have a number of investors in doing the investment in Vietnam and making their acquisition in Vietnam. For example, we just have Warburg Pincus in a investment in Vingroup, a development corporation. So in this deal, we have Warburg Pincus to acquire the retail business of Vingroup. This deal is very quite interesting. It takes a lot of time for deal structuring because you know that in this deal, Vingroup have to separate their retail business out of the other business, out of the other core business of the corporation, including building, development, including resort, hotel, blah blah blah. So, but Warburg Pincus, they only have interest in commercial and retail business. And if you are in Vietnam, you come to Vietnam, you see that Vingroup, they have a number of very beautiful commercial center in big city, in a premium location in big city like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. And that's raise the interest for Warburg Pincus. But it's not easy. Frankly, it's not easy to separate the retail business out of the other business. Just give you an example. In order to do this, they have to separate the land use right of the whole Vingroup for the separate, specific, underlying land. Because in each complex building, the complex purpose of use. So, for example, the building will be used for office, residential, and also a commercial center. But because the investor have only interest in the commercial center, they have to separate the land use right for the commercial center out of the other purpose. And it really takes time because all the right, all the building are on the same land. How to separate that? And it takes a lot of time to negotiate with not only the Vingroup but also the local government to help them to provide the necessary license and permit to separate the retail business, the commercial center out of the whole building and the underlying land. Is that an example we just done? By end of last year, we also have a Vietnamese corporation we call Prime Group, which is a leading ceramic tile manufacturer in Vietnam, to sell 85% of their share to the Siam Cement Group, SSG. And of course, in that deal, it's the sponsor, the founder of the company, together with two offshore funds, sold their 85% stake to SCG. This deal also took a lot of time for negotiation. And in this deal, we acted for the local sponsor. We helped them in doing the negotiation and try to negotiate the better term and better condition for the local seller. It's I think that another example I want to mention is the CDA investment acquired from Mekong Capital the 20% stake in a mobile world. And Mobile World is the largest mobile phone retailer in Vietnam. In this deal, you can read news information about this deal on newspaper. Frankly, we did not advise in this deal, but we did advise on the other two deals. I think that regarding the third example, I want to take this example to show that this is an example of an existing fund exercising their exit strategy. So Mekong Capital already held a stake in Mobile World for a couple of years. As I remember, it's about more than 4 years. Because we did advise them when acquiring the share in Mobile World. And after 4 years, Mekong Capital decided to exit, and it decided to sell the stake to a CDA Investment. I think CDA Investment is also a Singapore-based management fund. I think so. And it is, I think it's run by, or one of the directors of CDA Investment used to be director in Mekong Capital. That's why he understood quite well the target company, Mobile World. So as I mentioned, I just give you a number of examples about private equity deals that have been done successfully. I think over the past 1 year, just 1 year from now. Also, you can see a number of other significant private equity investment into Vietnam recently. Wow, we just give the name, Vietcombank, Vietcombank are the two you could consider, even if they are now public bank, but you can consider a state-owned bank, and they are trying to finalizing their strategic sale to strategic investor. Coca-Cola is already been in Vietnam for a long time. We see actually I already mentioned. You see Starbucks already opened. It's the first store, store in Vietnam. We see McDonald's. Wow, McDonald's. Love to hear that, right? But really love to see that. I really surprised why McDonald's have not been in Vietnam over the past 10 years. But now we see McDonald's. But Mr. Harry Huang, really, even frankly speaking, I will not allow my children to get in love with McDonald's burger. For sure, I promise you. But you see that even if in terms of macroeconomy, it's maybe the economy of Vietnam is not quite good over the past maybe 7 years, but we still see a lot of opportunity. We still see a lot of foreign investors coming to Vietnam and make investment and get successful result, successful return from their investment. And that's the reason why many existing investors who are holding the stake in Vietnam Corporation, they also think about and they also exercise their expansion. They make more investment in their existing target company. One example we want to mention here is KKR with Masan Consumer. Masan Consumer is one of the subsidiary of Masan Group, and in fact it is one of the biggest subsidiary. We provide a lot of generate profit for the whole Masan Group. And KKR bought 10% stake in Masan Consumer in April 2011. And after 2 years, KKR decided to extend their stake holding. And that's the reason why in January early this year, KKR spent another 200 million to acquire both primary and secondary share and to increase its stakeholding in Masan Consumer to 90%. Together with KKR, there are also the other existing shareholder and investor in Masan like TPG, then some other PE fund like some buy and bet fund. So just one example. And why I raise that example? Because sorry, I don't know the other example. Masan is our client, that's why I know about this deal. Then when you make investment in for investor, including private equity firm, when you make investment in Vietnam, it's very important for you to find out a good advisor, or in fact not a good advisor, a number of good advisors, because you need an advisor in legal perspective, law advice. You need an advisor for accounting, auditing, a big four firm, for example, and you need a good, and also experienced advisor for the consultant who help you to get to source a deal. Opportunity, there are a lot of opportunity, but how to make the opportunity a really good investment, it need to take time. You need, in particular with private equity investment, you need to pay attention to due diligence. We always advise our client to do a very careful due diligence at the beginning before doing any deal. I believe that, it's very, in fact, that there are some fund, some private equity fund in the past where they make the deal, they try to ignore the due diligence, not only financial due diligence but also legal due diligence, because they think that it's a waste of time. I think that is it's a wrong decision, and some fund are now facing the difficulty in exercising their exit strategy. It's very difficult for them to sell the stake, the share. It's also very difficult for them to get remedy when the target company, the local sponsor do not honor their commitment or their undertaking under the agreement. We always advise our client that when you do the deal with the Vietnamese corporation, you should pay attention to how the counterparty react to your request. If the counterparty seem to be tough, seem to be difficult, if the counterparty, the Vietnamese company, try or take a lot of time in reviewing the term sheet, in going through the definitive agreement, in hiring a lawyer to go through those contracts, I think it's good because those clients, those Vietnamese company, they really pay attention to the ongoing compliance. They really pay attention to how to honor, how to comply with their obligation and undertaking the agreement. They do not only pay attention to money. Because if the client or if the Vietnamese company are willing to sign anything you give to them, are willing to accept any condition you provide, then it could be a problem for you in the future when you really want to exercise some term and condition of the agreement you sign with them. And I give that, I think it's also good for us as a lawyer because it will give us more work, not from from investor or from PE fund, but also from the local seller. Just about some information about our firm. YKBN is a Vietnamese law firm, but we also have an office in Singapore, and we focus on not only inbound but also outbound investment, and we can advise you, the client, from the deal structuring, due diligence, documentation, and closing the deal. And you can see in the package you have the name card, professional. If you have any question, query, feel free to contact our professional. We are willing to give you the answer, to give you the advice. I think that I will not take more of your time. Just to come back to what Mr. Won mentioned at the beginning when he make a comparison between Vietnam and Myanmar. We think that Vietnam is still I want to say that Vietnam is how can I say, experienced and still very attractive woman for all of you. Thank you.
Which will be presented by Mr. Pham Ngọc Bích, Managing Director, Institutional Sales of Saigon Securities Incorporation of Vietnam. If you were here earlier in the morning, you would have heard about him. Today, Mr. Bích has held senior positions in various organizations such as SSI, Prudential Vietnam Fund Management, CIBC Wood Gundy Securities, CIBC Global Asset Management, Hong Kong, and Montreal Exchange. May I now invite Mr. Bích to be on stage for his dialogue. Mr. Bích, please.
Good afternoon. In the morning, sorry. I have a general presentation which covers mainly the macro situation of Vietnam, but I'll use that to illustrate the opportunities for private equity funds in Vietnam, and to guide you about how to invest in Vietnam. So, of course, as a foreign private equity fund or venture capital fund in Singapore or based elsewhere in Asia, when you invest in Vietnam, the first thing that you look at is, for sure, the macro situation. And after you're comfortable with the macro situation, then you go to the next step, is to look at the different opportunities and the different industries in Vietnam, and then focus on the specific deals or opportunities which are shown to you by the advisors or that you have found yourself in Vietnam. So, from a macro economic point of view, most people are concerned by growth, and that's why we had a panel this morning to talk about why growth in Vietnam is so slow. Second is if there is any growth, where in which area in Vietnam, and of course from a macro point of view, the currency situation. So I did talk about a bit about the currency situation earlier during the discussion panel. So growth, when you look at the top line growth of 5%, this is a general number, right? But when you do private equity investing, you don't look at the general situation of Vietnam. You have to look at the specific sectors where growth is. So from a general point of view, there are several things happening in Vietnam which could provide growth in the future. Vietnam has so far adopted an export-led economic growth model. So we joined the WTO in 2006, and since we joined the WTO, our GDP per capita has improved. So who is driving this? Hello? Up there? Okay, it's not me, huh? Because it's not here. Anyway, can you go to the next slide, please? No, the one before. Yeah, okay. So one major event which will provide growth opportunity for Vietnam is the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Those who are familiar with this, it is a free trade agreement which is being negotiated between several countries in the region, including Singapore, of course. So Vietnam, Singapore, Brunei, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, Peru, the US and Canada, and Japan also are thinking about joining. So under that free trade agreement, as in the future agreement, it's a reduction of import duties. So duties for Vietnam goods, which are currently, the trading between Vietnam and and North America is about $22 billion US. And it is believed that after the free trade agreement is in place, that export value could double to $40 billion US. And the bulk of the exports of Vietnam to the US are mainly textile and agriculture. So looking at the textile industry, for example, those are the different steps in the process of producing clothes for you to wear. So first, in the textile business, we have the spinning. Oops, okay, go back to the, yeah. So the spinning, well, first of all, we have to have cotton or polyester. With cotton and polyester, we spin the yarn. So there are spinning companies, import companies for lots of cotton and polyester. We use the cotton and polyester to make yarn through spinning companies. Then the spinning companies produce the yarn. The yarn are supposed to be used in weaving and dyeing, right? Then after we have the weaving and dyeing of the fabrics are used in garment products, in production of garment for sale to retailers or wholesalers, either in domestic Vietnam or for export. So the textile industry in Vietnam is structured in a way that we have to import cotton and synthetic fibers because we cannot grow cotton in Vietnam. A lot of cotton comes from West Africa, from India, and from the US. The USA is actually a big producer of good quality cotton. So we import those materials. Synthetic fibers we import from Taiwan and Singapore and Japan, Korea. And then so we have importers of cotton and synthetic fibers. We have 100 spinning mills in Vietnam, which produce about 120,000 tons of yarns. But 80% of the yarns that we produce are exported to China. Only 20% of the yarns that we produce are used domestically in a weaving and dyeing business. Why? Because there is a bottleneck over here. There are not that many weaving and dyeing factories in Vietnam. That's why all the yarn production that we have go to China. So we have very, very little weaving and dyeing productions in Vietnam. And then, so where do the garment factories get their cloth from? They have to import almost 100% of their cloth. From where? From China again. Okay, and then they make the garments in Vietnam for export to the US or to Europe. So TPP will change that. TPP will result in a lot of people investing in dyeing and weaving in Vietnam. Because there is a rule under TPP which is called the Yarn Forward Rule, which requires that for those products, exports to the US or to Japan, to benefit from the duty reduction, they will have to have materials all made in Vietnam. If they come from China for the cloth, if the cloth come from China, the garments that we produce would not be able to benefit from the reduction in duties. So many foreign companies are now establishing joint ventures operations in Vietnam in the dyeing and weaving business because we have very little expertise in weaving and dyeing in Vietnam, especially dyeing business. There's only one company which does that in Vietnam right now, dyeing. Why is that so? Because it's a very polluting business where you have to have good waste treatment facilities, and that requires lots of investments. So with TPP, the dyeing and weaving business will develop very quickly, and it's already happening. And therefore, they would buy more from the spinning companies. The spinning companies don't have to export anymore, but would be able to sell their yarns domestically if they are good quality. But some are not sufficient quality, so they need to develop the spinning business as well. And we will have to import more cotton and synthetic. So the result of that is with TPP we will have more dyeing and weaving, more spinning, and also more exports to the US and to Europe. So that's one opportunity, which is a major factor which is driving the manufacturing industry in Vietnam. And it would double the exports that we have with the US, for example, from currently about 15 billion US to about 30 billion US within the next 5 years. Okay, next. Yeah, and under the free trade agreement, which is significant for Vietnam, is the AEC, the Asian Economic Community. It is a cooperation which involves political, social, and economic cooperation by 2015. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with this AAC plan, supposed to be in effect also by 2015. Next slide, please. So under that plan, there will be free flow of goods, free flow of services, free flow of investments, capital, and skilled labor. So the 12 priority sectors which are focusing on those free flow of capital, goods, services, and human labor is agriculture, air travel, automotive, electronics, fisheries, logistics, healthcare, rubber, textile, tourism, and wood. So all those areas are areas in which Vietnam excels. And we have a lot of agricultural products. We have a fast developing electronics industry. We are among the biggest exporters of fisheries in the world. We have among the biggest exporter of rubber and textile in Asia. And so therefore, that AAC will definitely benefit Vietnam. And the people who are pushing the most for AAC is actually Thailand. Thailand is very well positioned to invest in Vietnam in those areas in order to take advantage of AEC. And Vietnamese population also and economy will benefit as well. To go back to TPP, the US is also pushing a lot for TPP. So as you can see, foreign direct investments in Vietnam will continue to grow. In the last 5 years, FDI disbursements have been at a rate of $11 billion a year. So with more free trade, such as AEC and TPP, the GDP per capita of Vietnam will probably multiply like in the past, because we joined the WTO in 2006, and since then our GDP per capita have doubled in the last 6 years. So in the next 5 years, GDP per capita of Vietnam will probably double again under TPP and AEC. The big investors in Vietnam are in Q1, wow, Singapore, 40%. The biggest investors in Vietnam in Q1 2013, for example. And then Japan, Korea, Thailand, Taiwan are the biggest investors in Vietnam. The US, very small. And cumulatively, the Asian companies from Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia are 75% the biggest investors in FDIs in Vietnam. The one thing which needs to be noticed is Samsung, the Korean companies. Korean Samsung, for example, is developing in near Hanoi the second biggest Samsung mobile phone assembly plant in the world. Samsung already, as you know, has 7 Samsung assembly plants in China, but they are no longer expanding in China. They are now expanding in Vietnam, so they are building the second biggest plant. And one plant is $3 billion. And to do that, they have to attract all the support industries around that. So Vietnam is developing very quickly in electronics and parts, especially in mobile phone and parts industries. And when Samsung comes, LG also comes. And other support and surrounding industries will also come. So that would develop the industrial parks near Hanoi. And we also see industrial parks being developed in central Vietnam to develop the petrochemical business. So many of those opportunities around the regions in Vietnam, which involve huge sums of money. So the SME companies surrounding those areas, such as textile, such as servicing the big multinational companies such as Samsung, LG, or servicing the oil petrochemical business will also benefit. Okay, next. Vietnam, as you know, is still a very much rural country. 70% of our population are people who live in the countryside. Only 30% in the cities. So we have a lot of visitors at our farm in Ho Chi Minh City. And people come to Ho Chi Minh and they see luxury stores on Lê Lợi Street or on Tâm Khởi Street. They see five-star hotels. They see many luxury cars driving in Ho Chi Minh or in Hanoi, and they say, wow, Vietnam is growing in terms of middle class and making a lot of money. Well, what you see in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi are not Vietnam. Real Vietnam is in the countryside. 70% of the population of Vietnam are mostly still living in the countryside, living off the farms or different businesses in the countryside. And they are very poor. They don't shop at Gucci or at Prada on Lê Lợi Street in Ho Chi Minh City. So the mass market of Vietnam is actually quite poor. So any business which caters to the luxury segment of the market in Vietnam will not likely succeed. Okay, because the mass market is still very poor. So any businesses which cater to the mass market or the mass affluent market will have a better chance of succeeding in Vietnam. Private banking in Vietnam does not exist. Priority banking in Vietnam have a tough time taking off. Consumer banking in Vietnam grows at 30% per year in Vietnam. The average size of a consumer banking loan or consumer finance loan is $1,000 US. That market grows 30-40% per year. Retail banking on the upper end of the banking business in Vietnam is still not profitable and still has a lot of room to grow. So that gives you an idea about the real picture of Vietnam. It's mainly because our population is still rural, but urbanizing, but still very much rural. We have strong demographic growth. The median age of the Vietnamese is 27. 65% of our population is below 35, so it's a young population. So you have to target the mass market, the young population of Vietnam, and anything which is affordable for the population of Vietnam. Luxury products, luxury flats, high-end advice for investments do not work in Vietnam. Of course, there's a lot of potential for growth, but currently does not make money. So, so the young population of Vietnam, what are they? They are mainly students, right? Lots of students, lots of young people. And those people have very little money. And they, they use mobile phones a lot. We have 90 million people in Vietnam, but we have 140 million mobile phone subscribers. And they use internet. And as Mr. Henry Huang was saying, internet and online shopping a lot. If you talk to any young person in Ho Chi Minh, everybody has either a smartphone or access to internet. You ask them, okay, I need to buy this. Where do you think I can find this product? First reaction, they go on the internet through their mobile phone or through the computer. They say this is where you find the products, all on the internet now. So internet banking, internet shopping, mobile phone, mobile banking, mobile shopping are the biggest future of Vietnam, because those are the users, all those is the young population of Vietnam, and they are the mass of Vietnam. Okay. It's still very much an exports-led industry. Exports are growing, whereas imports are weak, mainly because of the weak domestic economy. Next. Next, please. And the biggest investments lately are in the electronic sector. Growth in investments do not happen in every sector. You see, rice, investments in rice is actually declining. Investment in textile have been low, but this will change with TPP. Footwear is solid. Crude, we export less crude because we have our own petrochemical refineries now. Coffee is exports is up. Investments in coffee is up. It's one area which does well in Vietnam. But electronics growing at 100%, at 70% per year in terms of exports. Next. One advantage of Vietnam is, of course, the labor costs. Labor costs in Vietnam is about half of China. The average wage of the factory worker is $150, whereas in China it's $300. The salary of an engineer in Vietnam is about $300, whereas in China it's $600. So we are among the most competitive labor in Vietnam. The other competitive advantage of Vietnam is actually energy costs. Electricity costs in Vietnam is still 30% lower than in the region. So FDIs are attracted to Vietnam for two main reasons: low labor costs and low energy costs. However, the bad news is that those costs will go up. Right? The government of Vietnam has implemented recently regulations in order to increase the minimum wage of Vietnam by 20%. And the trend is up. Same with electricity costs. All power plants in Vietnam are losing money because, not power plants are losing money, I'm sorry. EVN is losing money. Electricity of Vietnam is losing money. Because the rate that they charge to consumers and to industries in Vietnam are still too low. So there's only one trend, is the way up. Okay, so I guess I only have 5 minutes left to finish, and let's go to the next slide. Well, political situation, we don't need to talk about that. Economic growth, we already spoke about that. Okay, let's go to the end of the slides. Can you go up, please? Because we'll have only 5 minutes left. More. Yeah, the ANC reform, okay, go on. Banking sector, SOE reform and bank reform. 50% of the economy of Vietnam is still driven by the SOEs. And SOEs, as you know, are not efficient. And they adopted a few years ago very strange business models which make them not efficient. For some reason, many of the large SOE companies, they adopt the chaebol or the kaibatsu model in Japan or in Korea. That is, industrial companies would own banks, finance companies, insurance companies, securities firms, fund management companies, all sorts of businesses, real estate development, real estate finance, so that many SOEs end up owning a bit of everything. Petro Vietnam, for example, has everything under the sun, from oil exploration to oil services, gas distribution, but also distribution of mobile phone, petrochemical cells and fertilizers. And they have a finance company, they have a securities fund, and they have an insurance fund. Now the government said, enough is enough. You know, SOEs are not producing good returns. So they require that all SOEs would need to divest from their core businesses, starting in 2015. So there's a big movement right now of SOEs divesting from the non-core businesses, selling off to private individuals or private companies or even private funds like yourself in many, many types of businesses. Banking. The banking system in Vietnam is in trouble, especially the smaller ones. They need expertise. They need foreign expertise in order to improve, and they need capital. Many of those are short of capital. They don't want to admit it, they don't say it, SVB does not admit that, but many are short of capital, negative net worth, and they have no expertise in banking. Why? Because many of those are real estate companies or industrial companies, which also form a bank. You know, 10 years ago it was easy to get a bank license in Vietnam, and that's why we end up having 100 banks in Vietnam today. So, and many of those banks, they don't understand banking. They expand by just opening branches, many, many branches. That's how they define retail banking. Retail banking is have a lot of branches across the country. That's my retail banking strategy. So they open branches, they put people in the branches, and the people wait behind the counters for customers to come. And of course, they don't come. So that's not how retail banking is run in Singapore. You have to go out and find the clients, not sit behind the counters and wait for the people to come. So they really need expertise. So that's also an opportunity for foreigners, foreign funds specialized in finance, in consumer banking, in retail banking, in consumer finance, in microfinance to invest in Vietnam. Okay, so let's go until the end. 2 minutes left. More practical. Okay. So the way to invest in Vietnam is if you are already done with your due diligence about the macro, about the businesses that you want to invest in, and you want to set up to invest in Vietnam. You need to go through certain procedures. For the listed market, you need to establish what we call an STC, that is a Security Trading Code. And that has to be, it's a complex procedure of documents, which requires certification, notarization of your constituting documents of your fund or your company, and notarized at the Embassy of Vietnam in Singapore, or wherever you are based. And then, and everything has to be in Vietnamese, not in English. So you need translator to do that documentation for application of an STC. But also, at the same time, you need a capital contribution account at the bank. Why? Because when you invest from overseas, you come with US dollar or Singapore dollar. You need to convert into dong. And then the dong is used to invest in the private equity. But then when you sell, you need to bring back the dong back to the bank and convert that back into US dollar to send back outside. But if you don't do it appropriately, you will have a tough time repatriating your fund. And the way to do it appropriately is to establish a CCA, a capital contribution account at the bank in Vietnam. The money will come in Singapore dollar, in Hong Kong dollar, or US dollar, in the CCA account at your bank, let's say HSBC. Then HSBC will convert into dong, and then we use that dong to invest in your private equity business. When you sell in 5 years' time, let's say, you get back the dong, you need to convert into the US dollar for repatriation. You have to go back through that same account. If you go back through another account, you would not be able to convert that into foreign currencies for repatriation. So that is an account that you need to establish in Vietnam, besides the STC, if you want to invest in the listed market. So those are the two procedures that you have to go through. I know that some of you are all quite familiar with that already, but some may not be familiar with that. Okay, so that's conclude my presentation. I'm now ready for Q&A. Thank you.
In the interest of time, maybe we will have recent details and activities which will be presented by Dr. Phak Ming Tuan, CEO of Topeka EdTech Group. Dr. Phak Ming Tuan was honored by World Economic Forum among 192 young global leaders in 2012 and by Founder Institute as highest rated mentor in Asia in 2011. He served in Dean and Vice Dean positions at Hanoi Open University and Hanoi University of Technology. Before that, he held several positions at Strategy Consulting Group McKinsey, Venture Capital Fund Astra Media, and software company Integra. Now, may I invite Dr. Tuan on stage to give his talk. Dr. Tuan, please.
Thank you very much, organizers, for the opportunity to talk. Good morning. Some of my fellow speakers have mentioned that Vietnam is like an experienced, attractive lady. And I'd like to tell you a secret. She's got a younger sister, and that's a startup industry, technology startups. And let me do a quick sharing with you about how they are doing. It's actually personally quite new information to me, a lot of information today about how Vietnam is in crisis, because I really didn't really pay attention, and I think many of our startup colleagues didn't. Because for us, it's always crisis, right? So inflation, problem 101. Banks in trouble, problem 102, right? They wouldn't have talked to startups anyway, right? So we're always solving problems. Many of the startups gonna fail, but those which gonna succeed, they are doing better and better every day. So I think I know that 2 of the top 4 startup internet companies in Vietnam are here. I know that we're doing much better than last year. A few 100% annual revenue growth. Much better than 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Topical, we also doubled our revenues for the last 3 years, so there's no signs of crisis. Either we fail or we're gonna do better. So a quick introduction about, sorry, this one is not working, that one. About what we're doing and how it's related to what I am talking about. Our 2 main products are online education products. The flagship is a online university. We provide outsourcing services to 7 universities in Vietnam, about 12,000 students for bachelor degrees. The second one is a English franchise network for kids. We have 12 franchise system and growing very fast. Just doubled that in the last 2 months. And the reason I'm speaking today because we also have a accelerator program, and we're keeping pause on the parts of the startup community. And we have graduated about 16 graduates so far. Some of the names may be familiar: Apora, Eton, Tapmi, Diaki. So I'm going to talk about the 5 recent trends in startup investing in Vietnam, and it's doing okay, doing if not great. It's not slowing down at all. Next slide, please. So the younger sister has just grown up, because the past few years she was a kid, and now recent news shows that there is big money in technology startups. People didn't know that before. Right? A recent coverage about Vina Game says they had a new issue to founders at 200 million valuation, and the founders' net worth is comparable to the top 15 on the stock market. So now people are paying attention in Vietnam. Investors, founders, employees, parents are letting their children doing startup. Before that, they all went to banking and stock brokerage. And this is I think it's well known. It's the big success story for IDG. It's a 55 time return based on what Mr. McGovern has shared with the community and in the press. Vatza has been cited by a Japanese investor as the largest e-commerce company in Asia. And of course, it's a rumor, it's unconfirmed, but it's about 75 million valuation, and that was about 2 years ago. There was last 2 quarters, there were a lot of smaller exits. significant but smaller exits. Vietnam Wolf is bought for 20 million. Nguyen Lựa, I think Nguyen Lựa is also here, the Bishop founder. They also made an undisclosed exit, partial exit. And Kim Viet also made an exit for a US career builder company. So this has provided some encouragement to the startup community. So there is real money in startups. It's comparable to the top 15 on the stock market, and people are paying attention. A lot of founders are encouraged, and it was not the case about 2 or 3 years ago. So she was a kid 2 or 3 years ago. Next one, please. Okay, so the 5 trends I'd like to share with you quickly on a limited sample. There are a lot of people talking about investment startups are slowing down, and it's actually not the case. There were 37 deals in the past year and a half. 2012 there were 24 deals, and last 6 months there were 13 deals. Of course, the sizes are getting a little smaller, but there's a common trend globally that startup investments are getting smaller. So more like the seed stage and there's a Series A crunch. So out of the, and before that, 2011, there was only 10 deals in the whole year, about less than 10 deals. The known one that we are aware of. Both publicized and the rumored one, and we are keeping track of the rumors as well. Next one, please. Trend number 2, of course, the industries, the vertical sectors. OTT wars going on, of course, between Kakao and Line and local player Zalo and some others. E-commerce, there has been 7 years, not including Rocket Internet, who is investing heavily in Vietnam, and that's also educating the customers, the consumers. Mobile apps, there has been 5 years recently in the 18 months, and EdTech, 5 years in the 18 months, and payment as well. Actually, it's 4, not 3. Number is 4 for payments. Trend number 3, before 2012, there were hardly any startups targeting global or regional markets. So they were all focusing on domestic markets. And it started recently, last 18 months, we've seen about 4 new investments into companies that target regional, global markets. People like Apoda, Greengar, Clay. Clay is a cloud storage company. Apoda is a online app store. Regionally, they have about 4 million users in the region. Greengar is an interesting company, mobile collaboration invested by 500 startups. And the 4th one is Money Lover is a personal finance app with about over 1 million downloads. So the trend is shifting, so people are not only targeting domestic consumers, but they are also doing global, targeting global markets. Next one, please. Trend number 4 out of 5, Japan and Europe are catching up, and if they continue, they're going to take over soon. It used to be all American, and I mean the origins of the funds. So they all have local operations, but the origins used to be Americans. More than 50 years or before 2011. Last 2 years, it's all about Japanese and some European investors coming in. So last 18 months, we got 7 Japanese investors, deals by Japanese investors, 7 by European and 7 by Americans. But interestingly, there's no Singaporean investors. So where the investor from Singapore, originally Singaporean funds. Next one, and last trend. Investors are getting, VCs are getting bypassed by strategic investors, or angels of course. Right? So there have been 6 deals, early stage deals, done directly by strategic investors, corporates. Out of those, 3 are of course acqui-hire, that's a different story, but 3 of them are structures the same way as a VC deal. So minority stake, valuation based on a pilot product or some traction, right? So strategic companies doing the deals that VC should be doing, and you should be making money from this. And now they are bypassing you, the VCs in the room. Okay, so those are the 5 trends. The community is also getting lively, vibrant. We also helping work a lot on helping community grow. We have been receiving some grants from World Bank in order to support and organize about 40 events at different communities in the country. So if you want to talk to investors, please let us know and we can introduce you to people you very interesting companies. Next one, please. And also, these are some of our portfolio companies and mentors. So luckily, the first generation of accomplished founders, they are very generous and in terms of giving back their time to mentor the second generation. So we have most of the accomplished founders and investors, they are joining our programs, in the accelerator program as mentors. And give back. And there are some, back please. There are some interesting portfolio companies here who have graduated. Apora, again, a mobile app store company, 4 million users regionally. Eton, that's the latest deal last week. They just closed last week. They got about 2 million investment from a Japanese strategic investor in the healthcare. They are doing a healthcare app, doctor booking. So things are happening. And if you'd like to talk to startups, let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Of Polymer Asia. Can you start the slides? Okay, we are a company in the plastic industry in Vietnam, located in Ho Chi Minh. I just give you a brief, a little bit about the plastic and then about the company. We have about more than 2,000 plastic enterprise in Vietnam. This is a growing business. The turnover is about 7 to 8 billion US dollar in last year was. The export is quite interesting. It's about 2 billion US dollars. Can you, the next slide please, or I can change it here. You can see the plastic industry in Vietnam is interesting because the raw material, the resin, the polymers, is not produced in Vietnam, and everything is import, sorry. And then the product is produced in Vietnam, and then is exported to all the countries worldwide. So we can see here a splitting of the different polymers, but mainly, like other countries also, the main product that produced in Vietnam plastic industry is the polyethylene and polypropylene. Next slide please. Vietnam, everybody knows the country, but the main business of the plastic industry is located in the south of Vietnam, in the area of Ho Chi Minh. 85% of the plastic industry is in Ho Chi Minh. A little bit, about 11 to 12% is in the north. Please, next slide, please. The export market of the plastic industry is increasing quite dramatically with the years, and it's a growing business. The speed of growing business is 16% per year. Next slide, please. We can see that there is a different markets, different products, but we can see that the packaging is the leading plastic industry in Vietnam, and we are supplying to this market as well. Next slide, please. Another interesting slide that I want to show here, how to concentrate, is that the export market. So Vietnam market, main country that the export market is going is Japan, with 22%. Next slide. Can you move it to the next one? And the next one also. Okay. What we are producing master batch. Master batch is a concentrated product. It actually is the raw material for the plastic industry. When you want to make, for instance, a cap, so you want to have a cap with the color red, so you have to use a polymer and adding to it a color red of pigment. And we are doing the pigments and supplying it to the plastic industry. So our customers is all the plastic industry processor. Next slide. We are producing a different product. I will not go to details, but we are having a full range of plastic additive for the plastic industry. Next slide. Okay, this is the process. Maybe we go next slide, please. Okay, I don't know. It's the old slides. Next slide. No, it's not. It's not the right presentation. No, it's my presentation, but it's not the right version. Good one. Anyway, so I will give it for my head. Anyway, we were established about in 2002, the company, and in the beginning we were a trading company, and about 3-4 years ago we started our plastic production of the raw material, like I said, and since then we are located in Ho Chi Minh. We have 10 lines of production. Our growing rate is quite impressive. In 2011, our turnover was 1.9 million. In 2012, 5.7 million, and this year we are expecting to be about in the 7 million turnover, with an interesting growth rate, with a nice profit of about 14 to 15% per year. Recently, we also signed agreement with a Japanese company that actually it's a about 65 billion US dollars company, one of the biggest chemical companies in the world, for doing them OEM with a turnover of about $90 million for 5 years. So we were chosen by them to be producing them their material for the next 5 years. The company growing rate is about 33% a year, and we are okay. I spoke about this already. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, what are our strengths? We have really a good track record of experience in quality of this product in Vietnam. I think we are first the leader in quality and size. We have all our knowledge coming from for our developing our internal development. So all the IP is belong to us, and this is the strength of the company. So we are not buying any IP or we are developing the IP by ourselves. All our machines, or not all our machines, but we are more of the machines. Half of the machines is coming from Europe, is high quality material machines, and half of them coming from Asia. And we are changing the machine year by year to having better machines. We have a very good relationship, long-term relationship with customers and suppliers. We have big suppliers. We are supplying to a lot of Japanese companies, and actually more than 30% of our companies is Japanese companies. And our market is mainly still in Vietnam. 60% of the market of the turnover is coming from Vietnam, and 40% coming mainly from other countries. We have a subsidiary here located in Singapore. From here we are managing Malaysia and Indonesia. We have also a subsidiary in Thailand that we are selling to Thailand, and also we are selling some of our product in Europe for well-known brands. That's it. Thank you very much.
Where's my presentation? My name is Dat. I am CEO of Sabo Vietnam. First of all, I would like to introduce my team first. Next, please. My team have a 6% cover all the important business of our company. All the working experience of our team is from 5 years to 17 years. Next, please. Today I am present you an opportunity to invest in Vietnam. It's about $10 million. Next, please. In Vietnam, there are many sites about music, movie, and information, but there are no platform for provide the user with financial service, property, and promotion sports. So we chose that way to solve that problem. First is about the bank-based information. We provide a platform for user to update all bank-based information and compare all the bank product, finance product service, and compare all the products to choose one and can apply to the online to the license.vn, it means bank-based.vn. We create a platform, a marketplace for all banks to join to sell their product online. Next, please. The second is DMUDI.vn with the promotion spots. It's only platform in Vietnam can provide all the cardholders to check and find the promotion spot from all the nation to can apply for their cards. And also it's a marketplace for all the banks to sell their credit card, debit card, and medical card, so they can apply to the DMUDI.vn online also. Next, please. The final solution for the property is we also provide great platform for all kind of agent, broker, and landlords to compare and to find all the property on the map. And also it's the first time in Vietnam that user can check and evaluate the home price automatically. And the website can return the result is a ranking, and so give the best result for the user. Next, please. And after 2 years, we prepare and already launched 2 sites, and we already have some good results like this. We receive about 150,000 visits per month, and already provide about 2,000 customers for partner bank. And we already cooperate with about 5 banks and continue to discuss more 7 banks in the future. And about the platform of SNet.vn, we already cooperate with Vietnam National Real Estate Association to prepare for the online real estate fair on the September this year. Okay, next please. If we receive about $10 million, we plan to have a sale volume about after 24 months about $8 million. Of course, it's profitable. Next, please. What we why we believe we can do this, because we have some competitive edge here. We are experienced and determined team, and we also have a network of partner bank and financial institutions, and already we have a working experience in online markets, and we are well prepared for nearly 2 years and to prepare to set up and to design and launching beta of website. So this is over for me. Thank you.
I'm Stienberg Corporation. I'd like to introduce you my company. Our company name is Small Corporation. We established on 2007. We invest by Easy Venture from May 2008. Our slogan is enriching community value. Our vision, we want to become a leader in professional online media products and service providers. And this is our vision. More products and service will be the optimal choice for business and online communities. Yeah, this is our milestone from we start from June 2007. We found as the first name with advertising company. And the next, in October, we launched the first version of Vietnam. It's the first ad network in Vietnam. And in April 2008, we changed the name to Mall Corporation, and then we invest by this venture. On April 2010, we achieved the Software Award. It is a very famous ICT award in Vietnam. In December 2010, 1,500 store officers joined our network. And next, on 2011, we served 5 million impressions per month. And the last year, we improved our and repositioned a range of products, includes headline, ad brand, subject, doubling, and value add. Next. This is our 4 core values. First, every model we have the passions. Number 2, be innovative. Number 3, be hard winning. And the last but the most important about Morris will be every Morris will be have a day to win. This is our products and service. We have 3 main products: Mall Ad, Mall Critic, and Mall Media. With Mall Ad, we have booking service and network, affiliate network, SEO and SEM, mobile marketing, social marketing. And with Mall Critic, we have web design, fast production, brand design, and printing design. With Mall Media, we have ISO.net Israeli first photo portal in Vietnam, and CMS portal. We develop products extremely with the constraints on Mall Ad in order to serve the client the best service. Let me introduce the detail of our Mall Ad. You can see in the product map, we have with Mall Ad we have 6 products. The first one is booking service, and the second one is ad network. We have the name adline.net and adbrand.net, and the third one is affiliate network. We call doubling.net. The same SEO and SEM service, we have valueadd.net. With the mobile marketing, we have topadd.net. And the last one, we have social marketing. We are proud to be the unique agency in Vietnam can provide the full and professional digital marketing and advertising service. This is Adline. Adline is an ad network that serves we have 1,500 websites in our network. We reach 55% Vietnam online user market and has more than 5 billion impressions per month. You can see more detail in our website www.adline.net. We have many kinds of products: Magic Box, M-Box, and E-Box. Targeted base is cost per click is CPC. Next. Next one is adbrand. Adbrand is a premium ad network that includes more than 500 websites in Vietnam. We reach 75% Vietnam online user market. We have 8 billion impressions per month. You can see more detail in adbrand.net. objective increase the brand awareness. So we have many kinds of products to do branding, such as rich media banner, magic word pop-up, engagement bar, bottom-up. CPM, CPC, and CPE is our talented. This is a mobile network we call TalkNet. TalkNet is a mobile network that has items. We reach 55% mobile user market. We serve 1 billion impressions per month. We have many kinds of formats, such as banner on net, banner on application. Next one. The next one is doubling. Doubling is affiliate network. Affiliate network is we bring the revenue for the merchant, commission for affiliate publisher. We have 300 products and 5,000 affiliate marketers in our network. The next one and the finals in Moet, we have ValueAdd.net. ValueAdd is a SEMO search engine marketing optimization with value click, SEO search engine optimization with value rank, and value display we have optimized the display advertising campaign. Our second product is more creative. With our more creative, we want to provide innovative and novel products designed. You can see some logo branding, some our fast production. This is web design. Forward is the latest customers of our company. We design the next one in more media. We provide a full digital service. Next. And Sodonet is very famous and the first photo sharing store in Vietnam. We have near 1 million members. We started 18 photos now. The last one is CMS. Our product is CMS portal. We provide the range of standards model with websites, especially online newspaper. Tuổi.vn is very famous. The online newspaper in Vietnam is also our customer. Some our partners. Next. And this among 2,000 clients in our network. Yeah, thank you.
We're here today to share with you how we bring the best education programs to Vietnamese preschool and kindergarten classroom. Next, please. So the first question is, what everyone think intelligence is? For school right now, they assume intelligence is when you have high IQ, you're good at math, you're good at language. But at Wonderview, we think differently. We redefine the concept of intelligence. We think we're all smart in different ways. And that's why at Wonderview, it's not the matter what we teach or how we teach that make a difference. So, can you go back to the previous slide, please? So here's the overview of what we're going to talk to you about today. First is what the problem we are solving. The second is who the solutions for. And briefly about us and our team. Next slide, please. So at first, what the problem are we solving? Wonderview is solving the problem in education in Vietnam. In terms of supply and demand, the current situation is the lack of supply of the high quality education programs and the huge demand due to the young population, very huge population with 9 million people and the rising affluence. People are getting richer, they're getting more educated, and the current education programs now are not meeting the demand. So we come in to solve the problem of supply and demand in education in terms of both quality and quantity. Next slide, please. And our solutions benefit two parties. The first is parents and children. and the second is private kindergarten schools. And for children and parents, children have access to high quality program with a very affordable price. They don't have to pay the tuition fee of the international schools. And for parents, we fill the gap between the working hour. It's like right now parents in Vietnam are working late, the school finish early. So there is a gap between the time parents have to leave work and the gap between the gap children finish school. So our after school program actually solve that problem. And for the enrichment programs for school, right now the number of private kindergarten is increasing due to meet the demand of society. And our program help them to differentiate themselves with the competitors. And here is a snapshot of the number of kindergarten in Ho Chi Minh City. Right now we have 540 kindergartens. Very conservative, I assume. Each kindergarten have 50 children. That makes almost 30,000 children in overall. And that should be very conservative. Our current school partner now have 500 students in just one campus. Next please. And okay, so I'm gonna tell a little bit more about what is Wonder Bee. Wonder Bee is actually a program that is founded in 2012, and it is dedicated to provide primary education program for the youngest ones, for children from 3 to 6 years old. And we are actually one of the first enrichment programs in Vietnamese that actually based on the core of premium curriculum, which we bought the copyright from the US. And what is special about our approach is that we aim for individualized education of the whole child. So what is individualized education? The current thing you see in most schools around the world is that children are educated in mass. So everyone is treated to the same procedure, obviously. But in Wonder Bee, we actually build an individualized plan for each child based on the learning styles and how he or she actually learns the best. Why is it education of the whole child? So previously, Ivy has talked about it's not what we teach, but how we teach that makes a difference. We believe in the uniqueness of every child, so we base our approach on the multiple intelligence framework, in which there are many ways that you can be smart. Our programs actually cover 4 subjects. Let's say for Wonder Self, social emotional learning, it targets the emotional intelligence of the child. So interpersonal skills and intrapersonal abilities are targeted right here. We have Wonder Math, which actually target the logical mathematical abilities of the child. Wonder Word, which is the linguistic ability, and Wonder Science. Okay, so we actually expose the child to science and technology, which is actually the 21st century skills that are lacking currently in the public education system. Okay, so right here we have Wonder Self, our flagship course, which had been piloted since 2011, and officially it is open the official class in March this year. Just a snapshot of what we have accomplished. You can actually read right here, but one we are most proud of is actually the 100% re-enrollment rate, 100% positive feedback from our parents, and 0 drop rate for the first course that we opened. Next, please. Okay, so a little bit about the team. This is Ivy. Okay, so this is Ivy. She's graduated from Canada, and she has years of experience in marketing marketing management in big corporations in Vietnam. My name is Kelsey Nguyen, and I graduated from MUS in Singapore, and I have some years of experience in building youth organizations
as well as entrepreneurial organizations. As well, when I came back to Vietnam, I spent years developing and 2 years developing and implementing life skills programs for children from the age of 3 until 11 years old in both urban Vietnam and rural Vietnam. We also have a teacher, a lead teacher, who is not right here on the slide. She has 10 years of experience as a preschool teacher in Ho Chi Minh City, and she's actually one of the best. She's the lead teacher for our Wanna Sell program. As you can see, we are a very small team, currently only about 10 people in the whole team, including the teachers. We have a diverse background with both international exposures and local insight. So this is our strength. We actually understand and have access to the best practices in education. But at the same time, we have the local insights and we understand the needs of our parents and children. Do you have anything to add? Okay, so this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nguyễn Trí Trung. I'm from Conico MI company in Hanoi, Vietnam. Today I come to the business connect point 210 conference to introduce about my company and some project which we are researching and developing. With me, you can see the clip. Okay. Now we are researching and developing 3 projects. The first project researching photon enzyme, and the second the sealing enzyme. You can see the third project Y enzyme. Now we found the investment capital resource to implement project on information. We can show you the document now I send you. Thank you. Okay, just that. In this presentation, we will use our product to present the slides also, and it also includes the demo inside the slide. And in the year 2014, it is expected the population will be 7 billion, and in 2039 it should be about 50 billion, and it is reaching the carrying capacity of the Earth. So in cyberspace, there's no limit. There's no limitation. So why don't we bring our Adam, Eva, and the stuffs to the cyberspace? Yes. And here in our products, the users wear the avatars. They can navigate through the world, the cyber world, and interact with each other and the products we design in the world. So let's see. Experts saying about the trends of the web 3D. The advance of the 3D web is near, and it will be unlike anything we've seen before. And Intel is now trying to be startup-like, and one disruptive area which is still unexploited is 3D visualization applications. The 3D internet is inherently social. You naturally connect with people who are interested in the same things and consume the same services. You know that disruptive technology is only disruptive if you didn't look and see it coming. Now see what we did so far. But this is what we already showed you. Here, user are able to isolate the products. We have products for real estate also. Yeah, now we are talking about Porter's 5 forces in the Internet 3D. The first one is the bargaining power of buyers. We rate it as medium, and we are trying to build the community as soon as possible to make them to stick to their. For bargaining power of suppliers, we rate it at low. An in-house technology and internet providers are the only suppliers, but there are many choices out there. For threat of substitutes, we rate it at low, and for threat of new entrants, we rate it at medium. For rivalry, we rate it at moderate high. Yeah, a little bit about our team members. We have other awesome 3D artists. Statistics about what we got so far. We are going to be a supplier for simulating hotels and resorts for the government portal for travel. Our valued customers. Yeah, this is the final picture. We will try to be to bring the real world into the cyberspace. So that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Sĩ, chairman and the founder of the Taco company. I come from the Ho Chi Minh City of Vietnam. I would like to introduce about some information about our company. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is great honor for me to be here today, joining Business Connection Conference. We are representatives of Tân Kỳ Construction Real Estate Trading Corporation, also known as TACO. TACO was founded in 1999. Head office is located in the Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. TACO has listed in the Hanoi Exchange and is since 2009. Exchange code EDTKC. TACO has been specializing in the civil, industrial, construction, and real estate investment. Regarding to civil and industrial construction, TACO has done hundreds of projects as the main contractor, especially high-rise building and factories. In the slide, I have to show some projects has been performed and under construction of our company. Typical project such as Da Nang Azura Tower, 33 stories. Da Nang Administration Center, 34 stories. Conrad Bamboo Factory with client from the American. Dona Footwear Factory. We own a strong workforce of the experienced engineer and skilled workers. Advanced construction methods with such as bearing framework for the surface concrete wall, automatically climbing framework system for the lift core, control system of safety, health, and environment is under the LEED standard green building. We came here with the desire to look for investor, client, seeking contractor for their projects. We really want to get the opportunity to sell our construction capacity with a competitive price. Besides, we also decide to search for partners to cooperate and invest real estate project together located in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Finally, we would like to say many thanks to the organizer creating this opportunity for us to take part in the business exchange and the business connection conference today. We wish all of you health and happiness. Thank you very much.